all the other politicians aren't really helping and they're keeping silenced. So George Galloway is using his voice for a good cause.
It's just important to make awareness of Palestine because they're going through a bad time and they need it. So yeah.
And what do you think of the other parties? Do you think
I think they're weak. As they can't even answer any questions, and when he is confronted he runs away with 5 pillars, so he'd be a really weak voice in Parliament as well because he wouldn't know who to stand up for and how to make Rochdale better.
I've always been a socialist, and in the past I've always supported Labour, but not again unless it changes hugely. I've always known of George Galloway and I've never been in his constituency, but I've always supported him. And I follow him on his shows, and I follow him on, and I just think he's wonderful, and he's just what Rochdale needs. Rochdale could do with a good make-up, and it needs it. And George is the sort of person who will make that happen.
We've come out today to support the Workers Party, to ask the people of Rochdale if they can lend their vote to George Galloway, who has stood for the Palestinian cause in the Gaza for more than 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely. We need a party in Britain which stands for something else than the kind of the mainstream two parties, the Conservatives and the Labour and the other mainstream parties. There's nothing to really divide them.
Yeah.
They're all basically stand for the same kind of policies. They stand for the same kind of issues and agendas, not just domestically, internationally as well. We need an alternative foreign policy, we need an alternative domestic policy, we need a policy that the government pursues which is in line with the interests of not just 2 or 3% at the top, but the majority of the people that works for working class people as well as everyone else. And the Workers' Party here is a representation of the working class and the people of Britain. We need a party in the UK that represents the working class.
دمت يقصى لنا يا وصية الرسول وعد ربك تنا ودلم لن يتول قدسنا لن تضاع قد قران اكتبون وانتشكنا الحسى وعرفنا السبيل هاول الاختهاء لن يمر المغول فاركب الموت الزواء عاد جحفن الرسول دمت يقصى لنا يا وصية الرسول وعد ربك تنا ودلم لن يتول. Right guys, so I came here all the way from Bradford. Why I've came all the way from Bradford is Hassan asked me to come and speak today. And Hassan, from a young age, he's been very supportive of my nasheeds and he's been very supportive in my public speaking. But another thing is why I come today to speak is my biggest inspiration when it came to the Palestine cause and speaking uncensored and confidently comes from George Galloway himself, who has inspired many to speak confidently about the Palestinian situation. My message to the people of Rochdale is 1,000 children dead, thousands of mothers, thousands of innocent fathers in Palestine dead. And the Labour Party, they've not even called a ceasefire. Their MPs are so scared to speak out about the ceasefire. If you come to Bradford, look at the local councillors and look at the MPs. They've got this fear that their master Keir Starmer is going to sack them. But the Labour Party today, they're on the wrong side of history. And the likes of George for 50 years have been fighting for the freedom of the Palestinians. The likes of George are on the right side of history. I urge you all, George is not only going to speak for you in Parliament, George is going to speak for international issues, oppression and injustice across the world. So your vote is very important. This is time to change history. This is time to change politics. And I urge you all, it's time to vote George Galloway into the Parliament.
I said this the other day at the launch. We've got this list, haven't we, of things that we shouldn't be buying and shouldn't be making people profit from the genocide. And what we said that day is put them on the list. Put them on the list. So it's quite a few idiots. Keir Starmer's another one. We mentioned Angela. But the biggest idiot is often amongst us. And amongst us, I mean, only up the road, he's only from Nelson. Does he not know what the people of Rochdale think? Because as far as I'm concerned, the people of Rochdale are not idiots. They're very well versed in the reality of politics. So the message that this sister sends out to the councillors of Rochdale, stop it. Go home, resign, whatever you need to do. The reality is that the people of Rochdale will not be made as a puppet. They will not be involved in the murders. They will not be involved in the genocide. They will not be involved in any kind of oppression, whether it be in Gaza and also on the streets of Britain. This young man is talking about British people. You and I was born here, I was brought up here. I am just as bad as being a British as I am of being a Muslim. No doubt they are using that rhetoric. They are using anything they can, their dirty politics, to divide us. Do not allow them to do it. This is not a Muslim fight. This is not a fight against our Jewish brothers and sisters. Because those people that believe in justice, those people that believe in humanity, they have no colour. And those that don't, they have nothing but darkness in their heart. And we are reminded of that because there are many people who have that darkness in their heart. And that has no ethnicity, that has no religion, that has no gender.
My name is Abdullah Al-Farra. I am emergency medicine doctor and general practitioner. I am a Palestinian and I'm from Gaza. Talking about Gaza, I got this gift from one of my colleagues, which you can see all the name of some of my family that I lost recently. They told me how many of your family have been dead or killed. I said, oh, I have no place for this simple flag to put them. Maybe decent, maybe 60, maybe 70, I lost the count now. Gaza been fighting, Palestine been fighting for over 76 years. Brutal occupation, genocide, war crime. A lot of people being displaced more than 76 years ago, and they're still displacing us now. All of the Palestinians, we've been dispersed all over the world. I can't go to my country. Someone he told me, oh, you have to go to your country. I said, I can't go to my country. Someone else, which this from George, he said it on the radio many years ago, someone else sold my country to someone else, so I can't go back to my country. The government is concerned that they tried to get up with the deep crisis in the NHS, with the contract of the junior doctors, with the not enough money to bring more qualified teachers, to get more police, to get more ambulances, to improve our healthcare system. But we have enough money, looks like, to bomb in Gaza. We have enough money to go and bombing another countries. Shame, shame, shame. We will not stop. Gaza will not kneel. Palestinians, we are not going to kneel. You, inshallah, you are not going to kneel. So let's keep this fight. Keep please boycotting. Keep talking about Palestine. Don't stop. Keep your vote for the people that deserve it. Here you have a big example, please. Please don't let this man that he fought for many years without giving him your vote, because it's a vote for humanity. It's a vote for all of us. It's a vote for our children to get a better place, a better leaders than we have now. And thank you very much.
This is your campaign, and you've invited George to speak because he is one man who's not been talking about Gaza for a couple of weeks, a couple of months. He's been talking about Gaza for decades. A big warm welcome to George Galloway! Free Palestine!
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Brothers, sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm truly humbled by so many of the things that have been said here today. Yes, about me and my work over half a century. Don't tell my wife, she thinks I'm 45. But above all, our brother, the doctor from Gaza, with more names on the back of his flag than you were able to count. The names of his murdered family members in Gaza. And he's here amongst us in Rochdale and on this platform today. We've heard such powerful words about the Palestinian children. All 6 of my children are here today. 3 boys, 3 girls. Several of my grandchildren are here today. It's a big posse, but if you think about it, there are families in Gaza who've had larger families than mine, wiped out in an instant, eviscerated, turned into shreds in front of the eyes of their parents. Parents burying their children when it is children who should bury eventually, after a long life, their parents. As Shanaz said, I myself have also been present at many births. Everybody here who has, and especially every woman here who has given birth, knows the difficulties of labor. Imagine the agony, not just of the mothers, but their mothers, their husbands, as 20,000 children have been born in Gaza, mashallah, in the last 127 days. They are never going to wipe out the Palestinian people. We will not allow them to wipe out the Palestinian people. God will not allow them to wipe out the Palestinian people. But the suffering has been immense. 30,000 dead, 70% of them women and children. Imagine 10,000 children annihilated in 127 days. And to add insult to that injury, that ocean of injuries, that ocean of blood, our politicians have been cheering it on from the sidelines, have been apologizing for it, have been explaining it, and above all have been arming it and funding it and voting for it in the United Nations, giving diplomatic, political, and yes, sorry, Brother Shafiq, media support to it, calling the victims the terrorists, and the terrorists the victims, turning language on its head, inverting logic inside out. These criminals are every bit as guilty as those pulling the triggers, dropping the bombs, firing the rockets, dropping the shells from land, sea and air, because Israel would not be able to commit these crimes if it did not have the support of these hypocrite Western politicians. So many have died in Gaza. More than ever, I've been in this cause for more than 50 years. In Gaza, over and over and over again, I've seen many massacres, many crimes, but I've never seen anything quite like this. And of all the stories, we could talk for days about them. The story of little Hind in Gaza is for me the most poignant, not just because I have children exactly her age, who look exactly like her, who wear exactly the same funny ears, who love unicorns just like her, but because of the particular cruelty of her death, even in this sea of misery that is Gaza. This little girl lived all of her life, every day of her life, under a brutal siege, on the verge of hunger all the time, with no proper medical care all the time, lacking in the material things all the time, all of her life. And she suffered until her very last breath, in a car with her dead family, on a phone, begging someone to come and rescue her. And two brave ambulance men raced to the site to rescue her. And these criminals didn't just murder her, they murdered them. And for 12 days, Hind lay dead in a car with all of her family, decomposing, dogs and cats eating the bodies of the murdered people of Hind's family. And sometimes, you know, one person becomes the emblem of a far greater story. And I want everyone to remember Hind when they decide, maybe we will go for a McDonald's, maybe we will drink a Starbucks, maybe we will drink a Coca-Cola. Remember Hind, remember that child, because these people also have facilitated this slaughter with their financial and other support for Israel. We boycott McDonald's, we boycott Starbucks, we boycott Coca-Cola, and we boycott Labour. We boycott Labour because they are a part of this crime. That wonderful young woman from Tameside who spoke with such sincerity, class, such enthusiasm for the cause. She coined a great name that I must say I hadn't thought of myself. It's not Angela Rayner, it's Angela Runner. And we've got to make all of these people run from the voters, run from the electors, run from the elections, because all of them are complicit in this crime. Now there's an apology doing the rounds on the mass media this morning. I must say, even by the standards of apologies, I've never seen anything quite like that apology. groveling. His knees must be sore. It's the most groveling apology to Israel, to Zionism, and to the criminals that I have ever seen. But we here, and we in the Workers' Party, and you here, all of you in Rochdale, we have nothing to apologize for. And by the way, we're not just calling for a ceasefire. A ceasefire is necessary, but not sufficient. Shafiq and I have seen many ceasefires, only for the fire to begin again. We're not just calling for a ceasefire. We're calling for victory to the Palestinian people in their struggle to be free. And we will do anything, everything, to assist them in that struggle. We need to boycott Israel. Britain needs to boycott Israel. We need to stop selling arms to Israel. We need to stop using our airplanes flying out of our airbase in Cyprus. Who knew we still had territory in Cyprus? But we're flying intelligence flights from Akrotiri in Cyprus over Gaza to help these criminals identify targets so that they can rain down death and destruction upon them. And we need to hunt democratically, peacefully, electorally, politically. We need to hunt these Labour war criminals everywhere they go. They should be confronted in the way that Tameside confronted them today. We have nothing to apologise for. We stand here in Rochdale today, proudly, with our songs, our flags, our placards, our children as witness to our commitment. We will never rest until from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. In our thousands, in our millions, we are all Palestinians. Long live Palestine, long live Rochdale, and may all of you continue this fight in every way that you can, on every protest, in every ballot box. I say to the Rochdale Community Alliance, who very kindly endorsed me today, I'm endorsing them. Let's have a clean sweep of the local elections in May. Let's remove all of these collaborating councillors and replace them with genuine and decent people of integrity. There are 70,000 voters in Rochdale, and we have to, as Shafiq said, we have to make sure each one of us gets 10 others to the polling place on the 29th of this month. And can you imagine me making this speech for you on the floor of the House of Commons the week after that? Can you imagine? Can you imagine how they'll feel seeing me walking through that door, carrying your mandate, speaking for you? I'll make the whole place quake. They'll be quaking in their shoes. The walls will be quaking as I express the rage, the righteous rage of millions of people up and down this country who don't have anyone speaking for them in Parliament. And that's something that we have to change when the election comes.